Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today for my Life After 30 series, I have Olivia, who is a registered nurse and owner of ANO, which is a cosmetic, injectable and skin treatment centre. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I thought it'd be really exciting to talk to Olivia today because of the trend with injectables and skin treatments and women wanting to feel more comfortable and confident in their own skin. So I thought we could talk about some of the trends and stigmas around getting injectables. So first question I ask everyone, how old are you?
I am 29, about to turn 30 next month.
Very
so
exciting.
I'm a bit of a fraud being on this podcast.
No. I've actually had
fast forward 6 weeks and I'm 30.
I've actually had a lot of people message me and say, can you interview people who are about to turn 30 and talk about how they're feeling about turning 30 and leading up to that.
Yeah.
So I want to jump into a little bit talking about that with you.
Yeah, sounds good.
The first reason I started this series was because I was turning 30 this year and I had a lot of anxieties about turning 30 and feeling like I had to have everything sorted out by the time I was 30. Not necessarily like marriage or kids. I always wanted to wait till I was in my 30s to do that sort of stuff, but more like career and success, and I felt like I had to have everything sorted out. And the more I talked about it, the more I realized that so many women have these insecurities and anxieties about turning 30. It's like this pressure from society that we have to have our life together.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And the more I talk to people, but when I look at people who are over 30, I don't think, oh, you can't do that because you're over 30.
Yeah, of
like,
course. Well, people live to 110.
Yeah.
So you've got like 80 years to
go. So I got really inspired by talking to these women or seeing these women on Instagram and stuff, who were achieving their goals over 30. So I thought I wanted to create a space and a community where other women could come and, you know, realize that they didn't have to have everything sorted out by 30 and you can still achieve your goals and amazing goals after 30.
Yeah, I love that.
So how are you feeling about turning 30?
I feel fine, to be honest. I have no anxiety, no stigma attached to it. I suppose I was thinking last night, like reflecting on about to turn 30, and I suppose when I was like 18, 19, 30 seemed quite old. Yeah. But then when you get to 30, you're like, I actually still feel exactly the same, probably just a little bit wiser. Yeah. I feel absolutely fine. I think as we get older, I think of who I was at 20 and who I am now about to turn 30. I really like myself a lot more. Yeah. And even I like how I look more, and I've had 2 children, so you think that I would actually be the opposite. Yeah. So yeah, I think I really like who I've become, and that is because of my age. Yeah. As you grow, so do you. So
yeah. I think that's similar for me. You know, the older I've gotten, the more comfortable I've been in my own skin and who I am. Yeah. And I like that version a lot better. You know, early 20s, I didn't necessarily want to go for all my goals because I thought, oh, what are people going to think? But now I'm like, I don't give a shit what people think. Like, I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it for me.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I wish I had that confidence at 20, but that's something that comes
your brain hasn't really
no.
developed yet. Yeah, I think that a lot happens in your 20s, probably more than any other age bracket, I suppose, besides 0 to 5. I just think you really find who you are, become more confident in yourself. I think you have a lot more empathy with age as well. Yeah. So no, I have 0 anxiety or stigma attached. I'm actually very excited about it. Some days I feel like I'm 50, in all honesty. So turning 30 does not scare me. I've been a nurse for 10 years, so I've been around people, older people, my whole life, and yeah, I look at people like my grandma. She's in her 80s and she's the wisest person I know, and I just think getting older it's inevitable. It's going to happen to all of us, and it's actually a privilege many don't get. Yes. So, and I've seen that in my work. So yeah, no issues turning 30.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. It's interesting because the more people I talk to who are in their 30s or about to turn 30 who are achieving really big goals and really successful don't have a lot of concerns about aging or their age. And I think maybe that's part of the reason they are so successful is because they don't even bother putting energy into that. Yeah. Like, it's not a concern. I'm just focusing on what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter about my age. Whereas perhaps other people who do have those insecurities might go, oh, I'm not even going to try because I'm too old. Yeah. So I think that's been something big that's come out of just even the first couple of episodes that I've done. Most people are pretty comfortable in their age, which is really great to hear.
Yeah, no, well, I think I think 30 is still pretty young.
Yeah, well,
Do you know what I mean?
now I do, but like when I was, 18, 20,
Exactly,
I was like,
you think it's old.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I often think about that. I think, I'm about to turn 30, and what would have 18-year-old me thought about turning 30? But I'll feel the same when I'm about to turn 40.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
so it's just, yeah.
I remember being, 18, 19, and a 30-year-old would walk into the pub and I'd be like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I still go to the pub. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not that old.
Yeah.
You're 12. Like,
Yeah, go home.
yeah, what are you doing out? But yeah, I certainly don't feel like I'm 29. I still feel like I'm 23.
You don't look like you're 29.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do need a bit of a touch up, but
I know a good injector.
Yes.
I know a couple actually.
So what got you into the industry?
So being a registered nurse,
Yep.
I worked in theatre for around 7 years
Yep.
at our local hospital, private hospital here. And I was first exposed to cosmetic medicine with plastic surgeons.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, this is cool. And I've been someone that's always been interested in the beauty side of things, but obviously having my degree, I wanted to put it to use.
Yep.
And I probably entertained the idea of cosmetic injectables and cosmetic medicine like maybe 5 years before I even looked into it. It was
Yep.
something that was always in the back of my mind, but I think probably even like 5 to 7 years ago, there's a lot more stigma attached.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd bring it up to people, like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you stick that stuff on your face? And I was like, so I was kind of just shut down, and I didn't have the confidence. Early 20s, I was like, oh, everyone's saying it's a bad idea, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just started to really look into it, and then I started watching YouTube videos. I was like, wow, I love this. Like,
Yeah.
it quickly became an absolute obsession.
Yeah.
And it still is. 2
Yeah.
years of business nearly, and people are like, oh, have you been able to pull back a bit? And I'm like, I'm still full steam ahead because
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you have to be a registered nurse or a doctor, you have to be a health practitioner. And then there's postgraduate certified courses that you can do. The world of cosmetic medicine is rapidly changing, and
Yep.
so are the requirements.
Yep.
And then, it just rolled on from there. And then I opened my own clinic, and I was scared. But I thought, oh, stuff it, like give it a go.
Yeah.
It's changed my life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So I think in Australia, though, we are really lucky to have that requirement of having a registered nurse do it, whereas
Yes.
overseas, I don't know if they have that requirement all the time.
All around the world is very different.
Yeah.
So in Europe, only doctors can inject in certain parts of Europe, UK is like the Wild West. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So anyone can get their hands on the medications. I have no idea because they're S4 drugs. I do not know how they actually get their hands on it. And they can inject filler, they can inject everything. But the problem is, it's a medical treatment. And that's why we call our clients patients, is because we're actually injecting medication into your face.
Yeah.
And we need to have that background knowledge. And you hope things don't go wrong, but things do go wrong now and again. And you need to be able to reverse the filler or deal with an anaphylaxis, or there's a lot of things that medically we deal with. Like, people don't see that side of things. I think like sometimes we're put into the beauty therapist category, which is fine. But there is a lot of medical background in it, and if you're not in the hands of a health practitioner, you could be in big trouble. You could literally lose your face. I don't say that lightly. Like, you can really block.
This gave me shivers.
You can go blind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so scary.
You still could go blind with any injectables, but obviously if you're in the hands of a trained practitioner, the risks are minimised.
Yeah.
So we are lucky in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for people who aren't sure at home, when we're talking about injectables, we can't talk about the brand
That's right.
on social media and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but what are we talking about when we're talking about injectables?
So we're talking about anti-wrinkle treatment.
Yep.
I can't say the brand, which is TGA requirements in Australia, which is actually really frustrating, to be honest, because it's really hard to educate people before they come into the clinic. But it just smooths out lines. I think everyone knows what it's called.
Yep.
And filler, I can say dermal filler. Dermal filler is a hyaluronic acid, but I can't say the actual brand names of the filler we use. There's lots of different brands in Australia. They're all safe. They're all hyaluronic acid. All us injectors have our own preferences. But you'll still get a great result no matter which one you have injected into your face. So the regulations in Australia are extremely tight.
Yep.
Very, very tight. And we have to be very careful with what we say and what we do. We need to protect our registration.
Yep. And I suppose is that because so then people don't try and get the brands at home and stuff like that?
No, it's because they're drugs.
Yeah.
So you are not to promote a drug.
Right.
So there's particularly the anti-wrinkle is an S4 drug.
Yeah. Whereas in America, they put drugs on ads on TV.
They advertise
it's crazy.
Viagra.
Yeah.
You can't do that in Australia.
No. Yeah.
Probably can't even say Viagra, but it's fun.
We're not promoting it.
No, we're not promoting Viagra.
You don't give out Viagra.
No.
So you've been here 2 years, did you say?
Yeah, so
Yep.
I haven't been here for 2 years. I've been here just coming up a year nearly.
Yep.
I started in Friar Street with the gorgeous Vanessa from Ciao Bella. She was such a lovely person to start with, and it just grew quicker than I could have imagined. I think it was just right time, right place for me and Shep. And then we looked at getting our own space. And
So you've only had ANO for a year?
No, 2 years now.
2 years.
But I've been out of this clinic.
Oh,
for nearly a year. Yeah.
So in terms of doing injectables, how long is that? Or
No, prior to that, I injected as well. So I had, so you have to do accredited courses, and then I had a mentor I was attached to in Melbourne as well. So.
Yeah, great. I mean, you've grown crazy quickly. I've watched your journey on Instagram, and you know, you started this clinic with yourself, and now you've got 2 other registered practitioners.
Yep.
And I know you've got months wait list sort of to get into you.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's grown so
It's
quick.
pretty cool. I always say this story because I think it's really, like, I hope to inspire other people. And when I first started, I remember saying to my husband, I just need like 3 or 4 people a week, and just to cover some costs, and I'll keep working at the hospital. And I opened up my bookings, and it kind of was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. And then it's just like snowballed from there.
Yeah.
And we service a lot of people a week here. I've got usually around a 2-month wait list. You can get some little appointments here and there with me, but that's why I've introduced more practitioners. But it's really cool. It absolutely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Beyond, But the community support has been incredible. Like people like yourself asking me to do things like this. Like it all helps, and it's all. I think we're really lucky in Shep. Shep often gets a bad rap, but I've been able to build a wonderful life here. My family have lived here since I think nearly the 1800s. Like
Really?
A long time.
Wow.
Yeah, we're like one of the originals. And all my family have built successful businesses in Shep. And
So do you think the community around you has definitely helped with your success?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not here on my own.
Yeah.
I'm here from everyone that's shared my posts, liked things, booked in appointments, referred their friends. Like, you don't get to this point on your own, and if anyone thinks that they do, I think you're kind of missing the whole point.
Yeah.
And I'm so appreciative of that, and I think people feel that too. I'm not someone that is like, oh, it's not just all about me, although like I'm the face of the business. Like, there's so much that's going on behind the scenes, and there's so much support, not only from friends and family, but the community in general. People I didn't even know have just absolutely rallied around me, and essentially promoted me.
That's great.
They're not getting anything back. It's just they're just so kind. So
I think too is you're really approachable. Like, I think in the cosmetic injection industry, there are a lot of people are nervous, especially on their first time doing it, and they don't know what to expect. And you know, you often come to these clinics, and the practitioners are so beautiful, like yourself, and you know,
thank you.
It can be quite intimidating. But I think even with your Instagram, I feel like you're very approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you?
I try to be. I try to. My intention is that before people come in for treatment, they feel like they know who we are and what we're about. And I never want to seem intimidating. Like, we've got this beautiful clinic, and we really try and present ourselves well. But I feel like we're really down to earth.
Yeah.
And I actually call myself a bogan. Those that know me, and they're like, wow. I went away with Amy, who's working for me now. And I think it was really nice for her to see, like, I am quite, I wouldn't say I'm laid back. I'm pretty full tilt. Yeah. But I like that people think that we're approachable, because that's really important to me. Yeah. We're just Shep girls. Like, do you know what I mean? We've lived here all our lives. Yeah. And we're just like everyone else. So, No. I'm glad that that's the way we portray it, because that's how we want to come across as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So how has the industry changed over the last couple of years? What have you seen?
It's interesting, because I don't know whether it's changed so much because I'm in it so much now, or whether it's always been rapidly evolving. I suppose it probably has always been rapidly evolving. I don't think there's as much stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Because I think that because I'm exposed to it all day, every day.
Definitely. I started getting injectables probably 5 years ago, on and off. I haven't been super consistent. Yeah. Especially over COVID, I didn't really worry about it. Yeah. But I did find when I first was doing it, people were like, "Oh, really?" And then now it's kind of like every second person, but I do find the older generation are there's still quite a bit of stigma around it. And I have had people comment, it's funny, like I have 2 times I can really think about people saying things. So there was one time at my full-time job, people were talking about anti-wrinkle and they didn't know I had anti-wrinkle. Because it's so subtle that most of the time you can't tell. They just think of this picture of like, you know, the botched.
Yeah.
And usually those are like face lifts.
It's
like,
plastic surgery.
Yeah, it's not.
And implants that do that.
Yeah. So they were talking about that in a really negative way and, oh, this person has this and this person has this. And in the end, I just turned around and said, well, I have it.
Yeah, good on you.
And they were like, oh, really? I was like, well, yeah, I do it as a preventative. Like, I don't want to get any wrinkles.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh. And they kind of, you know, didn't say much. And then it was funny because a couple of hours later, when I was on my own, they came up to me and they were like, so can you tell me more? I'm interested now.
Yeah.
So, and then they wanted to get it done because they talked to me, and I'm a pretty big seller of it, I think, because I love it.
Yeah.
For me, it makes me feel more confident, and, you know, having this anxiety about turning 30.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to put it into words, but it makes me feel like I still have time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it comes across the way it makes me feel, but that's the only way I can sort of describe it in words. Like, I still have some of my 20s left, you know? Yeah. And then there was another time, and it was an older woman, and she made a comment that I was vain because I got treatment. And I was kind of like, well, 1, how does it affect you?
Yeah.
2, if just because I want to look my best, does that make me vain? Okay, well, I'm vain then.
Yeah.
And 3, like, it makes me feel more confident. So why is it a bad
That's
thing?
an issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, but then I find the more people I talk to it about and they see me with it, they're like, oh, well, you don't look overdone.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I think it gets a bad rap because of celebrities and, you know, the overdone lips and all that sort of stuff. But I have definitely seen a change in the stigma around it. I think social media has done really well in doing that. And I think we're quite lucky now because, you know, people used to look at the celebrities and go, oh, how have they aged so well? Well, no, it's not natural.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And it's available to us now, whereas it wasn't.
Yeah. For a long time, it was only the rich got anti-wrinkle. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Everyone always has an opinion about something. I really try on my social media to show all walks of life, males, females. Like I treat 18-year-olds up to nearly 80-year-olds.
Yep. So is there an age limit?
You have to be 18.
Yep.
You could technically have any of it on your deathbed.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep. Just looking good for, you know.
Yeah. That would be. There is an age limit on when I would usually start treating you.
Yep.
Look, some 20-year-olds have more static lines than people in their 30s. It comes down to genetics and lifestyle. Okay. So if you've got super deep lines in your early 20s, I'll treat you.
Yep.
I don't really like to.
Yep.
But it benefits, and we just do small doses, and I just say come in every 6 months.
Yep.
Filler, though, I'm very, very, very fussy with my filler work.
Yep.
So especially under 25-year-olds, I don't particularly like to do facial filler. I'll do lips because lips aren't going to get bigger naturally. Yep. But facial filler, like cheek filler, jaw filler, changing the shape and the contours of your face, you would know from yourself how my face looked at 20 to now about to turn 30 is completely different. Yeah. I like my face better because I've lost the buccal fat. So my structure has become more prominent. So I prefer how I look now. And I say
I'm trying to get back to my early
20s.
20s.
But it just, everyone ages differently. And so I just say, hold off, wait until you're 25, 26, we'll reassess. Because I don't want to start changing your face at 20. You don't even know what you're going to look like by the time you get to 30. Yeah. So, I'm pretty fussy, and I always think if that was my daughter, what would I want to say? And I'll just say, hold off. I'm not against it. I'm not, obviously not against them having treatment at all. Yeah. But we just need to be conservative. But yeah, no, there's not really an age limit. I treat women and men of all ages. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess is it better to do preventative type treatment, or is it better to wait? It's like, I sometimes have 18-year-olds coming in for wanting preventative anti-wrinkle. I just send them away. Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to be preventing wrinkles at 18. Yeah. It really comes down to if you have dynamic or static lines. So
Okay.
dynamic lines is movement. I
Yep.
can't really show you, sorry.
So like this?
Yeah,
Because I've
so-
got none at the moment.
Yeah, so dynamic lines are lines that are present when you raise your brows.
Yep.
Or the crow's feet are there when you're moving.
Yep.
Static lines are there when you're doing no movement.
Yep.
And so if you have those lines, we can definitely treat them. And if you get onto it early, we can essentially do preventative anti-wrinkle. That's what we mean when we talk about that. We just do really light dosages.
Yep.
It does, yeah, I suppose it works out better for you in the long run. But people are very terrified of having anti-wrinkle treatment too young in the fact they think, I don't know, there's this misconception that your face is going to melt or something.
Yeah.
It's not. Your
Yeah.
wrinkles are just not going to form. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
If you
so,
can't move your face,
Yeah.
then they're not going to form.
it's so safe.
Yeah.
And the good thing about anti-wrinkle, if you don't like it, which doesn't really happen, but if you don't like the effects of it, you just go back to how you were.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing else happens. It's
Yep.
not really that terrifying.
So something I get asked, because I talk about preventative a bit when people ask me why I
Yeah.
do it, is what happens when it does wear off? Do I just go back to what I was previously or what I would have been? Does that make sense?
You go back to better than what you would have been if you never had it.
Yeah.
So I use myself as a bit of an experiment. I went 6 months without anti-wrinkle because I was like, I want to see, because I wasn't getting lines back.
Yep.
And it really took a good 6 months for me to start to see lines again because I was
Yep.
so consistent for a few years.
Yep.
You probably find that in yourself too. Like
Yep.
your lines won't be returning
No.
like they were before.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it wears off, it'll be better than it was before.
Do you have clients that come in who are turning 30 that mention anything about turning 30 or like say like, oh, I need to get this because I'm
Yeah,
turning 30?
actually, it has happened recently, maybe because my patients know that I'm turning 30.
Yep.
But like instead of going on a holiday or having a party, they're like, my husband or my partner said, go and do whatever you want to do, which I'm like, I love those men.
Yeah.
Not all men are like that.
No. I feel like men still have a really big stigma about it. They're like, oh, I don't want... There's this whole saying that they want you to age gracefully but not age at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, which
You're
one?
damned if you do,
Yeah.
damned if you don't.
And like that's, the whole no makeup thing, and they think that no makeup is like actually a lot of soft glam and takes a lot more work, but when they really see someone with no makeup, they're like, oh no, not that.
Absolutely. I think we just need to steer away from not doing things because men have an opinion about it. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I love my
Exactly.
husband dearly. He's a beautiful man. He is so supportive of everything I do. But if he told me to stop getting anti-wrinkle or stop wearing... He says he likes me without lashes. I like me better with lashes, so I wear them.
Exactly. My partner knows better than to comment on me not getting it.
Exactly,
So he just keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah. It is really, really hard for women that when their husbands or their partners give them a hard time. And I have a lot of empathy for them. And
I know people who have said their partners would leave them if they got it. And I'm like, they wouldn't even know you got it.
they don't know, and
Like,
I don't think they would leave them. And I think it's terrible for people to... I think it's just like that whole your body, your choice. Like,
Exactly.
surely, whether it's the 21st century,
And
aren't
like,
we
if
moving
it-
away from that?
if it makes you feel more confident, then you're better in a relationship, I think. Like, if you have more self-confidence, then you're a better person to everyone else, Like,
It's really important to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I deal with women all day, every day, and there's like this guilt attached with just in general taking care of themselves. They feel like they shouldn't be spending on money themselves. They should be spending on their husbands or their kids and I just think I practice self-care. And I think I am a good mum. And I'm a happy mum, and I am a good wife, I think. And I think that's because I really take care of myself as well, and I actually have zero guilt attached to it. And I really encourage women to take care of themselves, and I think everyone benefits from the woman in the house taking care of themselves.
I've heard a couple of women on this series say that actually, and looking after yourself, you can then give your best version of yourself to everyone else. So you've got to look after yourself first, and then you can be your best version.
Absolutely. And why do you not matter? Like at what point does not taking care of yourself become a thing? I don't understand it. Like, put yourself first. Sometimes, you can't all the time, obviously, but I think we just need
that is a stigma that happens with age though too, because the more responsibilities you have, in your early 20s, you're more likely to spend the money on yourself and just be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But the more responsibilities you get, you're like, oh, but I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, I should put this towards something else.
There's actually a quote. So this is the quote my mum sent to me. And I think my mum practices self-care a lot better now. She's older, but I think when she was probably our age, there was even more stigma attached to it.
100%.
But she sent me this quote, and it says, "There is no greater burden on a child than the unlived life of a parent."
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is so true. And I would hate to think that I stopped my mum from living her dreams or being who she was wanting to be or taking care of herself. And I think about that with my kids as well. And I really like to show to my daughter that she can chase all her dreams. I know it's corny and people say it, but it's so true. I don't want her to think that, like, if you want to have children and stay home, that's absolutely fine. There's no, like, that's a wonderful life to live as well. But if you want to go out and chase your dreams, and that's fine. And even for my son, I think our household isn't like the typical functioning household. So my husband, I've been with him since I was 13.
Oh wow!
So we've always been together, and we've really, really grown together. And we both started our businesses 2 weeks apart from each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we both quit our jobs 2 weeks apart, and we started our businesses 2 weeks apart.
Wow!
And everyone's like, "You're crazy." This is a pandemic. Like, what are you doing? And we just really had each other's back.
Yeah.
Anyway, his business took off as well, but this really went crazy.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stress on our family because Hugh was 1, Heidi was 3, and it was kind of like something's going to give. And we loved each other too much, and our business had a lot of potential too. We could all see that. And so he made the really selfless decision. Both of us came to it, but he really made it in the end himself to pull back from his business so this could flourish. I'm so appreciative of him for that, and I admire him so much. Even my girlfriend's like, that's like, they really have a lot of respect for him for doing that. And so he does a lot of the drop off and pickups of daycare. He often cooks because I'm a terrible cook. So we're not the normal functional family, and I think he's such an amazing role model for my son.
100%.
Because my son can see, I can really support a woman in chasing her dreams, or I just
and
think
it's great for your daughter to see too that she doesn't
Exactly.
have to be that, like, there's no set role.
No, there is no set role, and it's not to say that those roles won't even change in 5 years' time once the kids are at school or anything. We're not set in this is how it's going to be, but for this point in time, it's what works for our family, and it's different, especially in a country town. It's different. And I know he got a bit of pushback from his mates, and it was, but I just think he's amazing for doing it. I'm so thankful. But and it's working so much better for us. Changing those roles and taking that pressure off was the best thing we could have done. So.
You've got to do what's right for you. I was very fortunate growing up. My mum, she was a single mum to begin with, but she never stopped striving for what she wants. Even now, she's so active and she never lets age. Like, she doesn't let it define her. Like, if someone even comments like, "Oh, you're getting old," she's like, "No, I'm not. What are you talking about?" Like, she's never really thought of age as a barrier. So I don't know where I get it from. I just got it in my head for some reason that I was turning 30. But I think it's really important. And she went back to uni in her 40s, and so I never really had this thought that I had to go to uni straight away, or I couldn't change careers or anything like that. Even though I think it was just society that made me think, I have to have it all sorted. Because I certainly didn't get it from home.
Okay. Interesting. It's so
know.
strange that you've put that pressure on yourself.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, where did that come from? But,
Oh, you need to get rid of it.
That's right. What areas on the face do you find make someone look older?
Mid-face.
Mid-face? So like
100%.
This area, eyes?
The
Or
cheek area.
cheeks. Okay.
So as we age, our fat pads move south.
Okay.
And so that's how jowls are caused. The sagging under the eyes. And so when I treat someone, say like 35 plus, that's when I really notice there's a deficit in women's mid-face.
Okay.
I do their cheeks, and it sounds dramatic, but people have cried in the chair when they see themselves because it is so... it just restores youth. It's the quickest way to restore youth on someone is to address their mid-face. And we always address the mid-face before we even go to the lower face, because the lower face is aging because of the mid face.
Okay.
So it's the structure of the whole face.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, mid face.
And is there any treatment, or can treatment make you look older?
Yes, too much treatment can absolutely make you look older.
Yep. Because I find like when I look at 18-year-olds now who have had work done, I'm like, you look so much older than what I looked like at 18. Like,
but you know why? It's because 18-year-olds still should have a young-looking, like puppy fat face.
Yeah.
But they've got sharp jawlines, sharp cheekbones. That's what you get when you get older if you've got naturally prominent bone structure.
Yeah.
So that's why they look older.
Okay.
Too much filler absolutely can make you look older.
Yeah.
That's why you got to be really fussy with who you go to. Find someone that will say no to you and will treat what you need treated.
Yeah, that's so important to find someone who isn't just doing it because they can get more money out of you. And I think people are scared of that when they come to Injectables, that they're going to be like pushed to get something or more and more and more. But I think it's important to find someone who will say no to you. Yeah.
So in our clinic, myself and Amy and Abby, it's at the core of how we treat. So there's two things we will never do. We will never point out an area that we think you should have treatment unless you ask about that specific area.
Yep.
Because
I've had that experience.
It would be awful. And I just think I would never, and the girls are the same, we would never want to make someone feel self-conscious of an area that they'd never thought of. I've actually had injectors tell me to fill in this dimple in my chin.
Yeah.
Luckily I've got self-confidence. I love this dimple. This was my grandfather's dimple. I've inherited it. My son has it. And it's quirky. It's me. I could easily fill it in and maybe I'm aesthetically more pleasing. But I was like, stuff you. Don't tell me to do that. And that was a real eye-opening experience for me. I was like, I would never do that to someone else. So you will never be made to feel self-conscious. We will only talk about what concerns you. And we really turn away a lot of work here. Especially the lips. And I always feel terrible when the girls come in and they want more on their lips, and I'll say no, and they're so disheartened because they've been looking forward to it. They probably booked it 2 months ago and they've saved the money. And I'll say no, and I always say I am losing money saying no to you. I gain nothing. Besides keeping my reputation, I gain nothing by saying no to you, and I think they would probably leave and feel probably a little bit disheartened because they told all their friends they were getting lips done. But then they would think, oh, well, at least she didn't just take the money off me.
100%.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, say the older women in their 60s or 70s, where the aging probably has gone a little bit too far, that if I did injectables, they would be disappointed in how much money they've spent with the little result. We refer them on to a plastic surgeon. So it's a bit of an awkward conversation to have, but they really appreciate it. Because I'll say, I'm not just taking your money.
That's right.
So, we're really, really fussy with what we do here. And we're not profit driven here. A lot of the big clinics are profit driven, and that's how they run their business, which is fine, but it's not how we're a small clinic. We don't do that here. We keep our reputation because Shep's a small town.
Well, that's it. You have to be careful.
What they're doing is either they're commission based, so they're trying to make more money, or they're trying to put everyone into this cookie cutter look. So I'm like, if I was to assess my face, how we're trained to assess, I'm aesthetically way off.
Really?
Way off. My chin is recessed. I have a small lower face. I've got a large forehead. Like, but I'm confident. I'm fine. But I always think that. I'm like, I'm aesthetically so off my proportions, but I like my face. So why would I try and make me look like everyone else? And that's what they try and do. They try and all have this V chin and this sharp jawline. And it's like, it's boring. If I'm honest, it's really boring. I'm just like, we can absolutely do tweaks, and if there's an area that really concerns you, let's make you more confident about it, but let's not make you look like everyone else.
No, that's right. I think it's awesome that we have the option to address parts of us that we aren't confident with. Like that we have that access now, like we were talking about before. It used to be only the rich, but now that we also have it.
I think people put down that it's a very vain industry. I suppose it is, because it's all about appearances. But the confidence it gives people, you can't put a price on that.
No, that's right.
But people have been altering their appearances since the Stone Ages. This isn't a new thing. You dye your hair, you do your brows, you put tan on. Like, unless you're doing absolutely nothing, you really shouldn't comment, because we're all altering our appearance in some way to make ourselves feel better. And they were doing that in the caves. So it's not a new concept.
Do you get treatment?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
I probably haven't had as much as people think.
Yeah.
So I have regular anti-wrinkle every 3.5, 4 months.
Yep.
And I've had my lips done twice. So I had a mil initially and then 0.3 the second time. That was around a year ago.
That's a tiny amount. So do you only need a little bit of a top up? Or you just liked it a bit?
No, it was interesting. So the first time I had my lips done, I went to a practitioner and I was like, she was okay. It wasn't great bedside manner, and she just pumped a mil in, and I was like, that's fine. I was happy with them.
Yeah.
And then the second time I went to my gorgeous friend in Melbourne, and I said, I'll just do another mil. And this is a really important thing to note too, is we do not see ourselves the way we actually look.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't even want to do your lips. And I said, oh, really? And she's like, because of your lower face. You can't pull off a big lip.
Ah.
And I was like, she's right. So I said, look, I've come down. Do you want to just do a little bit of tweaking just to give me a bit of shape? So I did 0.3 just to give a bit of shape.
Okay.
I was so happy that she only did 0.3.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, if she had done a mil.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time when I say that to the other girls that I treat. I'm just like, this has happened to me. Yeah. I've been refused treatment and I'm so glad I was.
Yeah.
Because I don't see myself on the side. We only ever see ourselves 2D. We've never seen ourselves in a 3D vision.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting, actually. Very interesting.
Yeah, we only ever see ourselves flat. Yeah. So we've never actually seen ourselves.
That's a bit trippy.
Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. So yeah, I absolutely get treatment, and I haven't had a lot yet, but I will get more, obviously, as aging happens. Yep. There's a new treatment that's just hit the market. I just ordered it last night.
Oh.
Once again, it's hard to describe it because of TGA requirements.
Yep.
But it's amazing, an amazing product. It's the highest concentration of HA on the market,
which is
hyaluronic acid. So it's like a filler, but it does not give any volume to the face.
Okay.
So it's incredible anti-aging, and it's incredible. So it's great for everyone, really. So I'm going to get it for an anti-aging approach. Yep. And then the women that have already had the aging process occur, it helps firm up skin. It's like a moisturizer, the most intense moisturizer you could ever have for your skin. It's a game changer.
Yeah, right.
And it's just so exciting as health practitioners what is available to us, and that's rapidly changing. So
and so that is, constantly changing. I read something the other day actually that they're looking at trying to create a permanent anti-wrinkle injection. Is that true?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
There goes my business.
But that would scare me though, because what if it was stuffed up?
Yeah.
Or you didn't like it?
I think anything permanent is not necessarily the best.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they could make something that lasts a bit longer than 3 months.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that even.
Yeah.
I think where cosmetic medicine will be in 10 years is totally different to where it is now, and our scope as health practitioners is only going to increase as well. Yeah, so it's exciting, especially this new treatment. I can't wait to start bringing it in. I've already got clients written down that are wanting it.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah.
So what would you say to women who are, any age that maybe aren't feeling super confident in their appearance and stuff, and are thinking about getting some sort of treatment? What would you say to them?
Interesting question, because people would think I'd just be like, oh, you need this and this and this. I actually think you need to probably work on your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because no matter how much we do, if you don't really like who you are on the inside, you're still probably going to pick something else about yourself that you don't like. So probably just work on how you feel about yourself.
And how have you, you said you've got very good self-esteem. How have you achieved that?
I think I've always had quite good self-esteem and confidence. As I've gotten older, I like myself, who I am, a lot more.
Yeah.
So that comes out as well. So I think the reason why I like the way I look is because I like who I am.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way.
Yeah. That's really good advice. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and we might even have to do a part 2. You're such a genuine, positive person that it's really, when you're with someone and you just get that vibe and motivation, inspiration. So I'm sure everyone else is going to feel that through your camera too. So
I really appreciate it. I think what you're doing it's a really cool concept.
Actually.
And from someone's about to turn 30, I couldn't give a shit. To be honest, I could not care less.
So I'll link all of Olivia's socials down below, and all ANO. And definitely go check her out. And if you are looking for any sort of treatment, come and have a chat to Olivia. She does free consultations.
And also on my socials, even if you're not from our town, because a lot of people follow me that are like from other states, I put up a lot of educational information. So even if you're not someone that's going to come and have treatment at ANO, I'll hopefully the Instagram will still be interesting.
And I love watching your educational ones. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.